Hey guys, I just kind of wanted to come to you again today with a little bit of a talk on colors. Now, a lot of people talk about color theory, and that's important to learn, but one of the things that I would love to talk about is how color affects a person's psychology, because that is really important to understand when you're designing a character, because the colors that you pull into that character will give off a certain vibe to people. So, what do I mean by this? Well, one of the things that our brain likes to do is associate emotions with color. Scientists right now aren't sure why we do that, but we do. And it may be because of in our past, way back when, colors were really important to identify what was dangerous and what wasn't. So we ended up associating certain colors with certain feelings. So for instance, if you see something red, you're going to feel kind of uneasy. Red is a very dangerous color. It's often the symbol for aggression and anger in character design, and often if you have an angry character, a villain, you'll choose red to support them. And the reason why is because we associate that with the color of blood and fire. Both things weren't, exactly what you wanted to see way back when. And that's kind of the idea. So different colors will invoke a different, trigger in our brain that tells us a certain feeling. Another good example is the color pink. Now, we use the color pink to represent kind of femininity, softness. It's red, but it's been toned down. So it becomes this symbol of love and kindness and caring and softness. And this is why you don't see very many pink male characters. It really is not because some gender coding, whatever, that a lot of people talk about. It actually just has to do with the fact that red in our psychology associates with femininity because of its softness. And honestly, I would say that red is its opposite rather than blue. I would personally say red is a more masculine version of pink, but I know that in the cultural version, we associate pink and blue together to represent male, female, especially children, which actually, it's really interesting where that comes from. It comes from a painting done, I don't know when, it's art history has been a long off from when I studied it, but this painter painted a little boy and a little girl, one in blue, one in pink. Up until that time, the color pink was used to represent young monarchs, particularly boys of royal families, because red was such a hard color to come by, and pink, being a lighter version of it, would go to the youngsters. But I digress. Another really commonly, emotional trigger color, I would say, is yellow. So here in the West, in particular, when we see the color yellow, we think brightness, happy. It's a very vibrant color. It's very bright. It just gives off a very excited happiness, whereas a pink would be more of a muted happiness. Yellow gives off this almost energy. And I have a feeling that may be linked to the fact that our sun, when viewed through the atmosphere, is yellow. So we associate yellow with being awake, being up, being happy, being bright. Blue is another common one, and blue is often used to... Blue is interesting because it can mean one of two things. It can either mean tranquility and calmness, but it also can mean this cold unfeelingness, which is really interesting considering that they're almost opposites when you think about it. So I would go a darker blue represents more of the calm tranquility, whereas a lighter blue tends more towards that cold, stark feeling. And I feel like if you're going to use blue on a character, you should really be using it in a way that would, I don't know, I would probably use it for a character who is highly intelligent. I just equate blue with intelligence for some reason. You know, not everybody does, but that's how I would use it. So another good one is brown. Now, a lot of people don't think about brown, but brown kind of equates, once again, like blue to a dichotomy. It either means like comfort. So like, you know, you think of brown, you think of the earth, you think of warmth, and you think of cozy interiors with lots of wood. I mean, brown kind of really conjures up this like comfy feeling. However, it can also be used to conjure up the idea of like grunginess, if you know what I mean. It can be almost, I don't know how to phrase it, but it can be a very grungy, like dirty feeling, and the color can be used in that manner. Now, I use a lot of the next two colors, which is white and black, and the reason why is because they are neutral colors, and they can also be really quick shorthands for good and evil, purity, and like corruption. So white and black also can mean like cleanliness, white can, as you know, and is also used in marriages, so it can almost convey a sense of love and belonging, as well as pink, which is used in that manner as well. Black is interesting though, because it can be used to symbolize lust. And that's really interesting because a lot of people wouldn't think about it. You know, black is often used for villains, but if you think about it, what is the one thing that every girl has in her closet? A little black dress. And black has kind of wormed its way into this meaning in the back of our minds of like, how to put it? This unyielding sexual tension, I guess is the best way to put it. It basically comes off as being a very dominating color. So, that being said, I like to pay attention to the symbolism of the colors that I'm using when I'm designing characters. If I want a character who is more of a villain, I may end up going more towards black as my base with another color sprinkled in. Black and blue, black and red. And this is why the black and red color combination is so common. And you know, a lot of people complain about black and red being as common as is, but the real reason why it is a shorthand for us. You see black and red and you think danger and unpureness, you think of corruption. So that's why we tend to use that color combination. I actually myself really love the color combination of black and a gold color. There's something sophisticated about it, and it works really well for a villain. A good example of that would be Loki from the comic books. Now, of course, comic book color coding is completely different than standard art color coding. So in comic book color coding, green usually symbolizes a villain. So does purple, funny enough. So Loki is green, gold, and black because of that. And I think that he's really a good example of how well black and gold play with each other and how good that they can look. And the gold lends to his sophisticated air that he's got going on, while the black obviously is the dangerous part. And then you've got the green, which almost lends him a bit of like a natural feeling. He almost feels like he's supposed to be, if you know what I mean. And that's kind of like, that's what you want to have. You want to have a cohesive color combination for your character, because the colors can tell just as much of a story about what your character is and who they are as can the design in general, what accessories they have or whatnot, you know, what people normally use to hint to what their character is. I guess that's about all I have to say on this matter. I just kind of wanted to go over color. It's not really color theory, it's color psychology, because I feel it's really important in character design, and I'm just kind of wanted to go over that. Because I see a lot of designers, in particular new designers, they get caught into this trap of using the same color palette over and over again. And one of the things that you do not want to do is get caught in the same color palette. I have seen so many designers fall into this and fall prey to it. Using the same color palette over and over again is not the way to go. So you want to think about your character, what kind of personality you want to portray, and then what colors you want to add on to them for that. Anyways, like I said, that's about all I have to say. I'll see you guys some other time. Talk to you later. If you want to subscribe to the channel, feel free. I would love to grow this channel further and talk more about this kind of stuff with you guys. And then also, if you want to make sure that you get the videos in your feed, you're gonna want to hit the little bell icon, obviously. I think everybody knows at this point, the bell needs to be pushed to get the videos. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see you on the flip side, so bye!